I will try not to touch this as much as possible. It looks fantastic. I wore like a black sweater, so you can see the ridiculousness of
It
this.
looks like you're going to join a what is a gathering of monks?
Ooh, a monastery,
Monastery, yeah.
a
It
monkhood.
just needs to be a lighter. It needs to be a brown color, I guess. And
Yes, I
the
could unzip it as well. Yes.
the headphones needs to be like a rope, and then you could be a monk. Don't they
Fair.
wear like
Y-
thick strings?
so I think what happened here is that I bought a Mac Mini to run my microphone, and then got into some sort of let's just call them update hijinks, where I can't necessarily remotely access my Mac Mini anymore. It doesn't have
Oh,
an HDMI cable plugged in, and that's really the actual
right.
issue here. And having tried the AirPods and failed, I guess we're stuck with this
Yeah,
today. I could probably remove
yeah. The AirPods were like super harsh. It
that
was
can happen. Yeah.
yeah.
So to explain that for all the 7 viewers who are in here just watching the preamble, I
Do we
think
have
what
that many?
happens
Oh
is
my god, we have that many. That's
we
amazing.
do here. So I apologize for the sound quality, folks. But I think what happens is there's people driving by. I'm on a main street in Vancouver, and I think they're using Bluetooth slash GPS slash Wi-Fi jammers now. And I've
Ooh.
legitimately had to stop most of the wireless things I do in this house because
Right.
it's like every 45 minutes or so a truck, and you'll
Yeah.
hear them. They get engine brakes and stuff like that. It's like an EMP driving past my house. It's
Wow.
awful. So probably not something that affects everybody, but apparently now there's a cigarette lighter, like wireless signal jammer. Anyway, yeah. Well, someone said it sounds fine, so listen, I'll take it. Fine, fine is perfect.
Yeah. No, it sounds fine.
Excellent. Now I don't have a lot of AI news stuff for you. I think I talked a little bit about open code last week, and perhaps I could use that as a preamble to get us into
Oh
something. Have
yeah.
you played with open code before?
No.
Okay, so open code is supposed to be open Claude code. There
Okay.
is some drama behind open code, so I will say that they started a repo, and then I think what happened, and I might get this wrong, I apologize. Keep me honest in the chat here, but I think what happened is Charm tried to buy open code the project because it started to get steam, which is great.
Okay.
Charm being like I believe they'd be a
Bash Bunny.
library company. Pardon?
Bash Bunny.
Bash Money?
Bash Bash Bunny, the YouTuber.
Oh, are they a Charm developer?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Well, I
I,
mean,
I
yes,
I've definitely
but
seen Bash Bunny. Yeah,
did work there. I don't. I assume she still does.
no idea. But Charm seems to make quite a few tools
Yeah.
and things like that. There was some
Yeah.
disagreement over the name of the project that should be called after they forked. And they did, in
Mm.
fact, I think, hire somebody who was working on the project. And then
Hmm.
the project kept the name, they kept the repo, and then there was a bit of overlap. At any rate, Charm has something called, I want to say Crush is the name of theirs. Their
Hmm.
Cloud Code, I don't even want to say competitor. It feels like a lot, but alternative, Cloud Code alternative.
Hmm.
Similar to the Aider. I don't know if you remember Aider. I've played a lot with Aider because I had a lot of
Hmm.
hope for it. It didn't really. It's okay. It's not awful. It's
Hmm.
not great. It's okay.
Yeah.
It feels like what open code brings to the table is a lot of the lessons learned that were put in place in Cloud Code. So a lot of the features or little creature comforts. I think sub agents are a big one for me personally, being able to define like a task that you can have through, like, this is my code reviewer task. Please don't freaking touch my code. Or here's my security
Hmm.
task. Please use like SAST or software composition analysis. Those types of things, those modes to me are very powerful. Also me, I love Cloud Code, and as a result I use it so much that I can't use it any longer. Like, I hit that 5 hour limit a lot, actually. In the past I've said I would go for a walk, and maybe I'm getting a little bit lazy, but
Hmm.
I'd like to be able to continue coding during that time. And what I found personally is during that time I'd normally switch to like a windsurf or cursor, and I'd use maybe Sonnet again, or maybe I'd be using Gemini with a larger context window to look at the overall project. I find Gemini's not great at editing code. Apologies, and not great in that it's still amazing. Don't get me wrong. This is like
Right.
state of the art here. It's not as good as Sonnet 4. So for me, Sonnet 4 is the tool that I reach for all the time. As a result, when I can't use it, what I'd like to do is sort of clean up the space around it so that when it comes into the China shop or whatever, it's not breaking
Right.
everything again. what I found is that using OpenCode, I can do both of those tasks in one tool. So I can use
Mm,
Sonnet using my, I think it's not a pro plan, but something like that. It's a $20 subscription to my limit, and then swap models, do that cleanup task, and then come back. And I
mhm.
found that this workflow is it's just unlocked other ways of working. So I put
Right.
my open router key in there. I put my
Hmm.
GitHub pat or credential in there. GitHub access to a few models as well that you can use,
Mhm.
and OpenAI as well. But I ran into an issue with OpenAI. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but when trying to use OpenCode with OpenAI, specifically some of the ChatGPT models, it required a government license verification
Hmm.
process. And it's, listen, it's not that I don't trust them. And I
Mhm.
realize they're currently being sued. What I use these things for, other than like testing them, and I won't name what I say normally,
Right.
but it's like rob a bank or do something else that's awful. I'm not doing any of those tests anymore. I think we've
Right.
figured out the prompt injection side. So for me, it's not a big deal if they get leaked. But I really want to be able to switch those modes or have multiple quote unquote agents work on code or have different trains of thought. So maybe one's working on the database migration scripts while the other one's
Right.
working on Terraform, and they're related but not the same. They're in different steps of the build process, so it's fine. That's where I'm at now. I'm at the point where I kind of want a Bastion that can run many models for me, that I could almost send like a command line to. Imagine a Docker run Claude code, do this task, and then disappear. I don't want to install anything.
Right. Right.
I'm at that point now, and it feels like OpenCode is the front end for that. I'm not sure if it's the best server, but it's definitely a good front end for it. So it's client server.
Hmm.
I think the server is written in Go, and the client is all command line. I think it's
Hmm.
TypeScript. It works pretty well. And I'm not here to say this replaces Claude Code, but for me as a tool, it seems similar enough to Claude Code in terms of what it outputs that I've replaced Claude Code with it.
Uh, okay. So the benefit is the ability to use other models, right?
Yes. Yes. With a
Okay.
similar UI that isn't the same, but it's similar enough. It's
Right.
there's other stuff in there. You can oh, what can I try to say? Like, it's like a share functionality, so you can share an actual live session with people. But
Hmm.
again, that opens you up to like, hey, maybe Matt's watching me code my next $10 million app and can steal my idea live if he wants to. Therein, of course, you could swap to enterprise if you wanted to, and go to
Hmm.
like an enterprise payment plan or whatever. I don't even know if they have enterprise. They've announced it, but basically the ability to share my process, I think, is
Right.
novel enough that's pretty handy.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, it's neat, and it's open source. So I think for the companies who won't run something that is free but not open source, I don't know if you've ever I've like run into that. I definitely have. Trying to get Docker installed in the enterprise can be problematic
Yeah.
because it's like, oh, it's free, so let's look at the source, and then you're like, oh, sorry, the source isn't there. Like, well, if there's no source, we can't install Docker Desktop, and it's like, well, and then I think for Docker at least now most of the things are open source, so it's fine. But back
Yeah.
in the day, it was a problem.
And it depends on the role in the organization as well.
Right.
Something that is free, regardless of whether it's open source or not, may get pushback because of the lack of support.
Correct.
Um, Something that is open source, uh, but has support and is not free. I mean, open source doesn't imply free, but it's often
Right.
together. Um, and Yeah, I mean, I remember we ran into that with when I was doing training at Datadog.
Right.
You know, the tool we wanted, one of the tools we considered using, we ended up not using because of the lack of support.
Right. Yeah, it totally happens. Because if you're running an event and you've got, I don't know,
Yep.
100 people in a classroom,
Yeah.
you need support.
Yeah. Exactly.
Having been there myself, you're sweating bullets, not
Yeah.
literally, but they're big sweat drops, and
Yeah.
you're
And
looking at
that
100 people
definitely,
looking at you.
yeah, that definitely happened. And
Right.
what was another one where? I mean, I remember we switched.
Well, there's
I
video
think the
conferencing.
support,
Do you
the
remember Blue
support
Jeans?
also,
Yeah.
huh? Oh
Sorry. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah,
Blue Jeans was one that was free for a while, and people were like, I
yeah,
don't know if I trust free. Are you
yeah.
recording all my calls?
And we also, I think the support model and the lack of support that we could get um, was the trigger to move us off of WordPress.
Okay,
because the
WordPerfect would be
Datadog,
amazing.
yeah, the Datadog's website, primary marketing website, was WordPress for a long time.
Gotcha.
But we moved off of it was I think it was WP Engine, which was hosting, which used what's it? It's one of these hosting providers, Linux something. Um,
Oh,
what was it called?
interesting.
Like, uh,
Linux servers? There was a hosting provider called Linux servers forever ago.
yeah, no, it was somebody else. It was another one of these, very openly, saying, we are all Linux, and it was like an early thing for that. God, I can't remember what they were called. Um, but anyway, they
Trying to
had
figure
a
out who
bunch
they could
of
be. Cool.
denial of service attacks, and we couldn't get any support from WP Engine because of it. And so the whole site just moved over to using, um,
I think it was Gatsby. Was it
no,
not? No?
no, before Gatsby
Okay.
became a thing, we were using Nanook.
Oh, don't know Nanak.
Nanook was on the documentation side, and WordPress was on the marketing side, and then
Gotcha.
and then they chose to go to Hugo, even though it was like
Not Gatsby, right?
two or
Hugo.
three orders of magnitude slower than Nanook.
Right.
And although Nanook is a Ruby based, but yet Nanook was so much faster than Hugo, and it had all these plugins built in. And it was like, why are we doing? Because they hired like two or three people that were focused on Hugo, and that was the. It had nothing to do with the benefits of the platform.
Gotcha. Is
It's
Hugo
frustrating.
not a static site generator?
It
Static
is.
sites should be
So
fairly fast.
for, yeah, well, but it's still during the building process
A build process. Gotcha.
was super slow.
Gotcha.
It's fast, but not as fast as a lot of other tools.
Right. Yeah, I hear you. The support can be a problem. I think a lot of those sites, my understanding is some of them or many of them have moved to Astro is what we're doing
Hmm.
now. And I've been looking at Astro as well. And I wanted to hate the build process, but it's extremely fast. Like unless I've made a ridiculous mistake with my routing or rules or something, it's quite a bit
Linode.
fast.
Linode was
Linode,
the
holy moly.
and they had a denial of service attack. They would
Wow.
not provide support to WP Engine, and WP Engine wouldn't provide support to Datadog, and so there's
Wow.
like fine. And it was like the whole site, the marketing site, not the
Still.
production like
Yeah,
actual app, but the marketing site was down for 2 days. It's like
unacceptable.
fine, we're gone.
Yeah, we're gone.
Yeah,
Oh, that sucks. So
yeah.
I guess that's where I'm at. Is like it feels like we're at the. Do you remember libpurple or Pigeon? It feels like we're at the libpurple stage where we're getting a front
Lip
end for something that's
purple.
commonplace on the back end. So libpurple would be Pigeon was a client, but it was a multi chat client. Do you remember Yahoo Messenger and
Mm-hmm.
IRQ and
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
IRC?
yeah.
Yeah. Yes, with the little pigeon icon. Yes.
Mm,
Pigeon begat libpurple, and I think libpurple is still around.
okay,
But in terms of chat engines, now everybody's done their own.
right.
So you've got
Yeah.
all the chat things that people use. They're not really
Do
compatible.
you use any of the aggregators for all the chat services?
I
Do you know
don't,
of
but
them?
yeah, I was like, I only know of one called Franz. Which ones do you know of? I'd be very
Beeper,
interested. Beeper, okay.
and that's the one I use. And I don't really use it. I use it as a way of notifying, one notification. It's like, oh, there's something I should pay attention to on whatever it is. So
This is pretty good.
Beeper,
This covers most of what I need. Yeah.
yes, Discord, LinkedIn. What else do I have? Twitter. I refuse to call it whatever they want to call it, but Twitter.
That's fair.
Um,
Yes,
there must be
Brian
something
in the
else.
chat has got this XMPP for life. Exactly. So someone in the chat remembers Pigeon. We did have one question though, and I feel like I'm not sure if this is a question for you or for me. I use Cursor once in a while. Yeah, with tool calls. I listen. I gotta say, GPT-5 seems to be going through some rocky stuff. So I
Yeah.
had nothing but glowing things to say for almost 2 weeks, and then I don't know what happened. But the release of like the medium and the high and the
Mhm.
bringing back the old models broke whatever magic I had with
Yeah.
GPT-5, which was actually, at least for coding, was amazing. And
Yeah.
now it is like way worse. And I know people wanted this update to happen and they're are happy with what they got.
Right.
I feel like I preferred the OG GPT-5. So Andre, I would say currently I'm having issues with every other tool call with GPT-5,
Hmm.
not in Cursor, in Windsurf. So it might be a little bit different than yours. I have MCP issues with it, where like if I'm running an app and I say use an MCP, which is an easy way to use an MCP in most chat windows, it will actually try to include the MCP server that I'm talking about in my
Right.
code, which it has done twice now. And luckily enough, I'm building a vibe coding platform. I'm building, quote unquote. But it's, I mean, it's fine. It's within the realm of the possible, but like it can't use MCP. It doesn't seem to use
Right.
tools. Sometimes has issues with screenshots. It's like it feels to me like the orchestration or the routing, which I thought was amazing before, is ridiculously broken right now. And I think, funnily enough, everyone was complaining before, and I thought it was great. But now when I use it, I'm getting the experience that everyone else is talking about. So I don't know what happened to me personally. Maybe it's a Canada thing, but I would agree with you that tool calling right now is a total mess. And I've essentially stopped using GPT-5 because it's just not viable.
Yeah.
I end up having to clean up stuff, and that's not cool.
Yep.
Especially when I don't know front end code that I'm generating. Like I have to go through
Yeah.
and figure
Yeah.
this out, and it means I actually have to learn. And like learning is
Yeah.
hard. I'm
Oh
at the point now
God.
where I'm complaining about types in TypeScript, and I feel like that's the entire point. It's like,
It is.
why are you confused about types? This is the goal. Anyway, yeah, MCP tools. Okay, so we're having the exact same problem. I'm having my problem in Windsurf, yours is in Cursor. But yes, it feels like it's not reaching
Yeah.
out to the tools. It's just doing something and then telling you that it couldn't find the tool, and then it did something
Right.
else as a result. And it's like, well,
Yeah.
that's why did you do anything? You just wasted my
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
This
Do
looks
you?
cool. I can. This is pretty sweet, man.
Oh, beeper.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Another thing that I've been.
Sorry.
Oh,
Before you go away, though, you know this is an automatic property, right? You scroll to the bottom of the beeper page and realize that we were talking about
is it
WordPress.
really?
And now we're talking. Sorry, I thought that's where you were going. Missed segue opportunity, folks. So Matt was just complaining about WordPress, pointing the finger at
I was
Linode
more
while we were
complaining
talking
about.
about.
I mean, I'm not a fan of WordPress, but the complaint that we had when I was at
Datadog.
Datadog was that it wasn't WordPress that was the problem; it was WP Engine, which is like the main
That's the
commercial
open source.
hosting
Yeah.
provider for
Yeah.
WordPress.
Yeah.
And they didn't really have the problem other than not providing support and not communicating. But their problem was with Linode, which was actually the cause of all the issues.
Yeah. And I
And so I
apologize.
didn't really have a problem with Automatic. And I mean,
Yeah.
there's been definitely some drama with Matt Mullenweg, but
Right, and I actually got WP Engine and Automatic confused there just for a moment, because those are the two that currently have beef with each other. Is WP
yeah,
Engine and Automatic, because one is
yeah,
WordPress.com and the other
right.
is everything else, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
But Matt Mullenweg
Right.
does have I mean, is often, apart from the latest drama, does
Often
have
has a good point.
sometimes smart things to say. And I'd
It's
often
really weird, hey? Like stop clocks are right twice a day.
like I've heard many interviews where I come away thinking, oh yeah, I like what this guy generally says, and I often put him and Derek Sivers in this kind of same kind of bucket for
Okay.
that kind of things that they talk about. Do you know Derek
Okay.
Sivers?
I don't, but you made me think of DHH, and then I realized that I want to talk about the.
Derek Derek
Oh, I see.
Sivers
Sorry.
made CD Baby.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But one of his best things that he said was like kind of a general advice. If you can't say hell yeah, it's a no for whether to take on a task.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'd get behind that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not excited, then you're not going to give it your all.
Don't
So
don't do it.
yeah, I
If
like
you
that.
if you don't have to do it. I mean, if you're low enough on the totem pole and you have to do what you're told, well, that doesn't matter.
It is what it
Maybe
is.
find a different job. Well, what I was going to ask
Hmm.
What I think we've talked about browsers in the past.
I'm here for the new browser war. Has it come out yet? Did you get access
uh,
to Comet? Is it Comet?
Comet. Yeah,
Yes.
I have it.
Oh, here we go.
I mean I can't. It seems to offer some interesting things, but it's like
No
nothing.
way.
Nothing gets me excited about it.
Uh,
But it. I mean, what's exciting, what's interesting about it on their page, what they brag about is not so much the browser. The browser itself is like a. I mean, it seems like even they say it's like the browser's not that exciting. It's the integrations that the browser has with all the other tools, and so being able to ask, you know, have that as the central point for all your agents that touch all your things and bring it all together. That's the magic. Not. It didn't feel like they were saying, the browser itself is a great thing. I don't know, but
yeah.
maybe I'm just not getting it.
Okay, so is it Chromium based or not? I had to Google here just to. It looks like it is. So it supports the Chromium
I think
extensions.
so.
Does it have
Yes.
ad blocking? Because this is like my major beef with Google right now. Is they've decided to
Ah,
get rid of ad blocking, and I understand why. I understand Google's an
right.
ad company. Also, having built Chromium before,
Hmm.
it's a bit of a pain. So I'd rather not build
Yep.
Chromium on my own, but I can.
Yes.
So I guess the first question is, can you log on to YouTube and Gmail and comment? Because like that in Chromium can be a problem, or watching Netflix can also be a
Oh,
problem.
really.
Yes, in Chromium.
Um, I believe so. I mean, I haven't done it.
I would assume so.
But I have run into problems where Chromium browsers have different support for plugins, for extensions.
Yes.
And so just being Chromium does not mean that you have all the same features.
Yes.
And some plugins, some extensions require certain sub features to be enabled, and
Right.
they aren't. And so therefore, like I was trying to use one particular extension, and um, it worked in Chrome, and it worked in Brave, and it worked somewhere else, but it did not work in Dia. It partially worked in Arc.
Okay.
It did not work in Comet.
What plugin is this?
um, huh?
What plugin is this?
I can't even remember what it was called now. But I was trying to get. I was like curious. Well, for some reason, I was curious about other browsers and are they all the same?
For
And then
some
I was,
reason, I mean, yeah,
and then
there's
I,
yeah,
and
there's a
then I
lot of
tried
reasons.
loading a few of the extensions I had and finding that they have different levels of support.
Okay,
And it
Echo
can be.
Delta tells us that yes, in fact, YouTube does work, which means that I think it's Widevine is the DRM, but that's in
Hmm.
there. I think we also should probably ban the person in the chat. Just just
Oh.
just a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably. Just I don't know. But
That
Echo
is
Delta,
kind
I
of
will
funny.
say, I will say, I have tried the new Edge with the new
How do
Copilot.
I
I
how do I get rid of it?
don't.
I can't. Is it gone from the?
Yeah, I think it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have tried the new Edge with Copilot, and I don't
Oh,
mind
sorry.
Bing. It's fine. It's fine. It
Yeah.
was pretty funny. Um, but I think what I don't like about Edge is that it keeps trying to push things on me, and I
Mm.
hate the pushiness.
Yeah.
There's like little pop-ups and stuff that come up, and I disable them all, and then I go to
Yeah.
reboot it, and new ones have come up, and it just reminds me
Yep.
of what the start menu has become, and I
That's
have to run away. I can't take it.
yeah. And I found the same thing with DuckDuckGo has a browser,
Right.
and they're constantly pushing, trying to sell you stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't
It
had
was
that issue.
like, okay, let me turn this off because they
Desktop
want
or
to sell you
mobile?
there's some, or was it Brave?
It's got to be
I was
Brave.
either
Brave.
DuckDuckGo or Brave that's trying to. I feel like it might be both, trying to sell you stuff.
Brave won't shut up about
And
a crypto, and it's like it's cool. You got a token.
yeah,
Awesome.
Yeah.
I could care less. You've earned 0.001
But I
bats.
I
Don't care.
I stopped caring about. I know with DuckDuckGo. I mean, one of the big things for Google search is being able to search based on a date range, and DuckDuckGo will not allow you to do that.
Interesting.
Um, and and then DuckDuckGo says they don't want to sell data, and yet they've shown that they have.
So yeah,
Yeah.
anonymized. You
Yeah.
you got a question which I would like to
Oh.
hear the answer for.
Do you believe the coding models will continue to be trained mainly with Python, or in the future we will see changes?
Now, do we know if that's true? Because I feel
I don't
like
know if that's
PHP
true.
is one of those things that the models gets really
I
well.
mean, I think some of the recent models, it's by far trained on Perl, just because Perl is what exists
I
more.
heard that. Yeah, maybe
Yeah,
I
we
probably
talked
heard that from
about. You
you.
heard it from
Yeah,
me
yeah.
last, and I think
Last
you had the
week.
similar reaction last week. Um, but
I can't believe it.
yeah, I mean, there's historically a lot of Perl out there.
Yeah.
Um,
And Andre, I
but
think to the same extent, I would say in the models that you're seeing a lot of Python in, I've been seeing a lot of JavaScript in. This is why I'm trying to learn JavaScript because it seems like it's an easy
yeah,
way because it's already in there
yeah,
and I don't know anything about JS, so it's a good
yeah. I mean,
test.
I would be happy with them not training on Python because Python sucks and I don't want to see it ever. Um,
It's
I thought
difficult
we
in the
banned this
ML data
person.
science world to escape Python, though. I think it's hard. Yeah, now Sean kind of is touching on the main thing that I was dealing with this morning. It's like if you've got 100 tabs in, let's say, 3 windows, one thing that Chrome is pretty good at now is being able to collect all your tabs and shove them into one, which was it was actually difficult in Chrome before. I
Mm.
don't know if you can do it in Firefox, but you can shift select all of your tabs now and drag them around, which is phenomenal. And I'm totally here for it.
Cool. All right, I'm trying to see if I can do any more on this banning. Where do I go for? Hmm.
Yeah, I'm with Brian. I'm here for the snake. All the Monty Python jokes. It's just like, listen, if you didn't have Python, you wouldn't have LLMs, would you? You know.
What?
I'm just trying to troll you, but I feel like a lot of data science is Python based. At least the data sciences I've dealt with, they're either Python or they're using what is that ridiculous tool? This GPL. Oh, shoot, I've forgotten the name of this language.
Ah, put user in timeout for 24 hours. Sure.
You're
And
trying to ban this person, yeah?
remove. Can I report? Yeah, let's report. What did he say?
The second message would probably be the one that I would report. The first one
Yeah.
was ridiculous. The second one was
Yeah.
not great.
Oh yeah.
Sean, you mentioned the tab collecting in Edge. So like that vertical stuff, I totally get, especially if you're on like an ultra wide display. I've heard from a lot of people where they like the vertical. Notebooks need to go? No way. No, you got to keep notebooks. I'm here
No.
for notebooks. I will die.
Notebooks
I will die on this
are
hill. No, I want
notebooks
you.
are
I want
absolutely worthless.
documentation, code, multiple levels of nesting. Oh, it's such a delicious soup. This is why I liked PHP. It's because you could just throw multiple languages inside of the code and create this like inscrutable tarball of mess. Like the triple escaped HTML stuff that you would put inside of PHP. Ah, it was fantastic. Or SQL. Do you remember putting SQL statements, raw SQL statements in PHP?
I know. I remember that was one of the powerful things with C# and Link
Right. Link
was
with a Q.
putting
Yeah.
Link with a Q, and then Link with a Q changed to not be that. I think they changed something, and I got less excited about it. I can't remember what it was. That was last time I cared about C#. Back when I was at Microsoft.
Okay, so I think I was trying to
What?
talk to you about R and R Studio and GPL. I think that's when there's issues. You're having issues banning this person.
Yeah.
We need an MCP for YouTube banning. I think they just banned it.
Okay. Where was I last time where I banned the guy? Lobot.
I'm trying to look through the other languages here. Like, do you like Julia? Julia is another one that's popularly used in data science. MATLAB. You've never had to convert some MATLAB code and put that into prod? Oh, you haven't lived, my friend. Data scientists will come to you with the most precious algorithms that, like, they predict the next 5-10 years of your product. It's fantastic. And they're like, it's GPL. We can just push this to prod, right? And it's like, oh no, we have to change all of these around. I'm so sorry. Andre, the biggest one that I use across everything is sequential thinking. I think it's one of the default Anthropic sample MCP servers, but it's the one that I use the most. And it's built into a lot of the products. So when you do something, you'll notice that they will do the next thing, that next prompt, and move on. I find that it works until a certain point and then it will stop working. And sequential thinking, at least, is similar to that to do that you'll see in Cloud Code. I think I'm trying to remember what Windsurf calls it, but it's like a checklist. And I believe Cursor uses something similar. Sequential thinking is an MCP server that accomplishes this, but it can accomplish it alongside of that to do list. And I find the two together work really well. I use Playwright as well. I've used Puppeteer in the past. I find context setting completely useless. Even though it says it finds results, it feels like it's not, that what I'm getting back doesn't seem like it's gone through the docs. On top of which, it's slow, and I just worry what I'm actually sending to it. If it is slow and doesn't give me the answer, and I've just cited a bunch of context, I'm wondering where that text went, what they're doing with it. Are they logging it? Are they training on my data? Probably. I mean, that's cool, but also I'd rather just like run my own. Yeah, Brian, I agree. It did seem like an Olama-powered N8N bot that was just changing usernames to mess with Matt. I was like, I could probably set up a YouTube spam bot pretty easy with, like, what were we talking about earlier, Quinn? Just throw Quinn at it.
Yeah.
Your goal is to disrupt Matt's stream. Your purpose in life.
Yeah.
All right, where were we before we derailed you there? I think we were talking about
Browsers, weren't we?
I think we were in fact talking about browsers. So the one
One
I
of the
care
things
about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the thing that I'm getting into more and more is the chat in with the browser and chatting with. I mean, there have been plenty of extensions that have kind of done this. I don't know
Right.
if we mentioned this last time, but
We haven't,
that's
and it's
kind of
something that I thought Safari should have done years ago with Siri, right? Like,
yeah. I find of them, I really enjoy using the one that's in Dia.
okay, I tried Dia for a hot second, months ago, I think, based on your recommendation. And you think the voice mode is good?
Oh, I don't know about voice.
Oh, isn't that what
Voice?
you just said?
No, like the chat on the side. I don't.
Oh, you don't voice control. Oh, my apologies. Yes, Safari
I mean,
doesn't
I
have a
don't.
chat on the side at all. Yeah.
I use the speech to text in Super Whisper, and then
Right.
that is kind of everywhere. So I don't really care about any specific browser features for that.
But Super Whisperer is not going to control Dia and go to the next page or go back, right? So you couldn't say, "Hey Dia, go back a page." I don't think that would work in Super Whisperer.
I don't think
That's
so.
what I mean in Safari. I want Safari to browse the web based on my voice. I want to be able to say, "Hey, click on the second link on this page." You know, what's we could probably ignore the chat for. I think they've nerd sniped you.
Yeah.
Amazing. Copilot, yeah. So Echo, I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you cheat on your tests with Copilot, but yes, it can certainly, if you've got a little chat bar on the side, you can do quite a few things. Andre, I think the same as you. If Context 7 was a paid for service where I could tell them not to train on my data, but also give me all those docs, that would be great. I have also found, on the other hand, that generally with the web surfing capabilities that some of these models have, or the capabilities for tool use that they have, it's less of a concern That being said, some of the docs pages are bad, and as a result, like the tokens that they're consuming just to go through your docs can be bad. Not to point the finger, but Datadog itself has docs that are phenomenal. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of spidering through them, aren't that great. And as a result, I think we either working on something or release something already to address like what a Datadog MCP server would do when it has to talk to documentation. So it's totally a problem that a lot of people are surfacing essentially. Yeah, coaches you and confirms your answer. This is what I like about that the sidecar maybe model of having like a little chat bubble on the left. Some people have apparently been bringing their Otter AI enabled
Mhm.
iPad or iPhone to meetings. I think we've talked about this perhaps in the past, but there is a lawsuit now about this because you can actually just listen to other conversations without necessarily being invited to a meeting because you're inviting an API to a meeting, and it's very weird in
Right.
terms of like where the legality would be. But even without that, which I think is definitely a problem, you could just put an iPhone and just record a conversation. In pretty much most of these apps, you could just turn on voice mode, which is very
Yeah,
odd.
I find some of these things that will add themselves to you as a user, you log in as you to the chat
Right,
with them,
right,
and then they insist on putting their marketing blurb, which is like half the screen,
right.
saying now being recorded by whatever meeting. It's like, God, just
No,
that user who invited that person should be, or that service should be banned.
banned. See if Matt can find the ban button.
Yeah, no such luck.
But I am looking at Dia. It looks pretty cool. I'm pretty hype on Ladybird. I'm sure we've mentioned Ladybird
Mm.
before. So there's Dia.
Is anything actually there? Is Ladybird actually?
Not that I know of.
No.
I'll check again. Great
The
move.
thing about Dia is the
Looks frantic.
skills.
Fair enough.
Have you seen what the skills thing is?
I
Basically,
have
it's like
not,
saved
but I was just looking
saved
at that
prompts,
demo. Great.
and that is fantastic.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Ladybird does seem like you can get the code now, and maybe I missed that before. And it's BSD2 license, or BSD2 clause license, which is pretty cool. All right. Well, I think
Hmm.
we'll have to give Ladybird a try because it looks like
Hmm.
it's available for release. It's got some Python code in here,
Great.
Matt,
Now
but
I'll have
it's only
like 8 browsers on
0.3%.
my
Yeah.
system.
There's only 0.3% Python code in here, so I think you can trust it. The rest is
Yeah.
in C++, and you gotta love that having worked for Microsoft, right? That's how
Yeah.
that works.
Something like that.
Right.
Um,
So I think the only other thing I want to talk to you about is we talked a bit about Olama Drama. Now, funnily enough, I didn't see any mention of Olama Drama in the last week, but one
no.
of us is closer to this project than the other. Have you?
No. I mean,
Awesome.
there was a video that was, I don't know, maybe on last week's I talked about there was a video that I saw that kind of covered Olama versus Llama CPP drama.
You
And
didn't even
like
talk
they
about that. You said you wouldn't cover it,
okay.
actually. You
Okay.
bowed out of that drama in
Ah,
particular.
yes, yes. Yeah, because I didn't really a lot of it I didn't know the details of. I mean, but a lot of the problems that people seem to have with it are just flat out not true. I mean, one of the big things is that, Olama has used Llama CPP and never acknowledged it, which
Hmm.
is not true since it's on the main README for the project.
I was about to say, I feel like I knew that early days, so
Yeah,
I'm not sure if
and
that's
it's
true.
it's
Okay.
never been hidden. It's always
Right.
been pretty public that it's based on not based, but it has um, it was historically based, not quite a wrapper, but used Llama
Hmm.
CPP. Nowadays, for most current models, it's not going to use Llama CPP. It's going to use a subset of that, which is the GGML stuff. Um, and but not all of the GGML code. And then the other complaint people have is that, well, if they were a good open source project, they would be contributing back, any changes that they made to the Llama CPP or GGML code would be pushed back to those parent projects, because they're not, that shows they're not being good, open source citizens. When the first off, there's two ways to tackle that. First off, is it's MIT licensed, just like Ollama
Sorry,
is,
yeah, I had to pull it up. It is in fact
which
MIT license. Yes,
which says you don't have to do any of that stuff.
you
And
it's free as
yet,
in beer. You drank the beer.
you can do whatever you want with it. If you want to take that and sell it, great. It's not,
I
there's
mean,
nothing.
there is something to be said about like, yeah, you probably should. If it's a fix, put it back. Totally get it, but there's no
Mhm.
obligation, and I think that's the
There's
key.
no obligation, which is why the at least a dozen or so times that Ollama has submitted PRs, gotten commits, merged into Llama CPP and GGML, as well as taking part in issues. All of those activities sounds like they've done
They are doing the thing.
um, they've done the thing that they don't need to do. Now, Ollama is also MIT licensed,
Hmm.
and there are projects that embed Ollama
Absolutely.
in them. There is nothing on those pages that say anything about Ollama.
Right.
So, and that's okay. There's no requirement.
I think the chat is echoing our sentiment here.
Yeah,
Like, leave poor Brittany alone. Leave Olama alone.
yeah. So, and then there were some other ones that they people like to say, which are just. I mean, if you got your blinders on and you pretend that you see one comment that's negative, then yeah, okay, maybe, but it's really hard to. There's like a list of like 6 or 7 things that Ollama apparently has done on a Reddit forum, and most of them are just not true.
Also, can we just
Um,
take a pause here and think about how much money Olama's made off of their own project? Like, I'm not going to say nothing, but pretty close to nothing at this
Pretty close
point
to
in
nothing.
time.
Yeah,
There's a lot of sunk blood, sweat, and tears into the
yeah,
Olama
yeah,
project. And I guess for me, that builds up a fair, like, the tank of goodwill is fairly full
yeah.
for me. And it's going to take a
Right.
minute for it to drain down. I'm not saying
And
it will take
yes,
forever, but
they've turned on Turbo, which in order to sign up for Turbo, you have to pay $20.
okay.
And but I mean, even if 1,000 people, 10,000 people sign up for that, I don't think. I mean, they're nowhere near the scale required to let that generate any real revenue.
I want to say $20 sounds cheap. And again, I don't mean to be an Olama
Yep.
shill, but based on the model that they're giving me, I feel like
Yeah.
it behooves me to try
Yeah.
this $20 plan. That is a bit ridiculous.
Right.
I think Brian said that Olama's just been doing work for them, like a workhorse
Yeah.
on their end,
Yeah.
and that's kind of how I feel like
Yeah.
it's the little daemon that keeps giving, or the little piece of
Yeah.
software that keeps giving. It's so easy to run,
Yeah.
so easy to grab a model, similar to that Docker
Yep.
methodology that I'm used to.
Oh,
Pull down a model and run it.
yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and then the other thought is one of the other complaints that some people have is that because of so there was Ollama used to use Llama CPP as the main engine, and then because there were a number, especially the multimodal models that came out that Llama CPP didn't want to go through the work to support. Because of that, Ollama there were enough things that they didn't want to support and Ollama wanted to support, so then they had to basically build their own engine. Um, and so they did that.
We
Where
got
was I
something
going
in
to
the
go
chat
with
that
that?
I have to like. Echo Delta said, if they made T-shirts with the Olama mascot, I'd buy 20. And like, I'm in the same boat. I'm not saying I'd
Yeah,
buy a $200 T-shirt, but I might buy an expensive T-shirt before I'd sign up for like an online hosted thing. And not to say
hmm
the Turbo isn't great, but
right.
I'm definitely in the I will buy a T-shirt because I feel like I
Yep.
owe you a T-shirt at this point in
Yeah,
time. You've
yeah,
done so much for me for free. Similar
and
to H Top, I bought the ugliest H Top T-shirt
yeah,
because H Top's phenomenal. I've used it for
yeah.
so long.
I mean, we'd probably, or Olama, I still say we.
Yeah,
Um,
it's too bad.
Olama would, I was, when we were still infra, I went through a lot of effort to make sure we use the same t-shirt brand as well as the printer, as well as the marketing company that coordinates all that stuff, the same company as Datadog.
Yeah.
Um,
And to be fair, a lot of
and
startups do too. Just throwing
yeah,
it out there. It's
well,
one
they
of
don't all
those
use the
playbook things.
same marketing firm and the same
Right.
actual printer.
That's true.
This was like the exact same setup. Um, and for that, I seem to remember our cost was something like $16 to $18 per shirt.
That sounds about right. They're premium shirts. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, selling it at $20, it's not really going to make much. But so yeah, they'd have to. But I don't think they want to do that.
Listen, I said 200
Yeah.
bucks, but I'm not saying I would
Yeah.
buy it. I'm just saying I would think
Yeah.
I would think about it at 200 because like to me there's a fair amount. Like I've definitely got $2,000 worth of whatever
Yeah.
out of Walmart
Yeah.
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. Some of that's models. A lot of the time though, I got to be honest, it's like I try to model before everybody else because Olama had it adapted in like
Yeah.
3 hours, 4 hours.
Yeah.
Some of that's the community, some of that's the core
Sure.
maintainers. But that community for me has built up a ton of goodwill. Happy to buy
Yeah.
a t-shirt. $40.
That was another
50
thing.
bucks.
That was another thing. Somebody was like, "Oh, I don't like it because of this split in Llama CPP and not supporting this newer thing." Well, now it doesn't. If you want to use GPT OSS, you have to use the format that OpenAI specified rather than GDML because there's plenty of requants that are GTML that
Right.
don't work on Olama. And so as soon as I saw that comment, I found the exact model he specified on Hugging Face, downloaded it, added it to Olama. It works perfectly.
So weird,
It's like,
right?
this is the exact same thing you said doesn't work. Obviously, you didn't try this because it works
Or
just
use
fine.
the wrong file name. Just
Yeah,
having done
yeah,
that myself.
yeah. So
Sometimes they'll grab like is it checkpoint files or something as opposed to is it GGUF? Anyway, there's a few different file types, and I've definitely
yeah,
downloaded the wrong
yeah,
ones.
yeah,
That's
yeah. There's it's if you don't know what you're doing, and that's something I hope that the new UI will make easier. It's just the process of taking those models that you find up on Hugging Face or wherever and downloading them and adding them to Olama. The process is pretty easy if you're okay with typing English. But if not, I mean, or with typing in general.
I was going to
But
take you to task on that. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, it's a lot of people it's not that it's hard. A lot of people think that being at the command line instantly makes it harder,
And
regardless
listen,
of whether they don't want to
yeah,
try it. They just
right.
think there's this perception that it's hard because it's the command line.
So they don't even try.
They don't even try.
Yeah. Listen, unfortunately, I've got a hard stop at
Yeah. So what
3.
did you buy stuff?
I didn't. I tried not to buy anything. I'm trying to be a good boy here. I've spent enough money. I'm going to Tokyo later in the year, so I purchased a plane ticket to go there, which is what I purchased. I will say though, on this last trip, my Haze suitcase finally broke in an interesting way. And listen, this is a glowing recommendation for Haze, a Canadian company. I'm trying not to do the hands thing like your president, but like I'm very excited about this company that's proudly Canadian. Lasted for I think 15 years. The handle broke in one spot, and for the rest of the trip, I used the handle with just one broken stem. And it was fine. The handle was like over-engineered so that one side of it could support the suitcase. So now I want to get it repaired instead of replacing it. They're pretty expensive. It turns out they've like doubled in cost. So I bought this for $100, and I feel like I got it on sale. It used to be $200. They're now like $400 for the model that I got. So I feel like just taking it in to get it repaired is better. It's just a plastic shell, let's be honest.
Yeah.
The handle is over-engineered. It's way more than a plastic shell. I'd like to get that repaired. But yes, Haze suitcases. I know you recommended a whole bunch to me. I looked at Toomey's.
I've never heard of Haze.
Hayes HEYS.ca is the name of the company. They sell on Amazon, but I think if you click the button,
Okay.
it goes to their website somehow. It's very very
Hmm.
interesting to me. But Hayes is essentially a molded plastic shell suitcase. It's
Yeah.
nothing more than that, but it's got
Okay.
cool wheels and a really good handle. And I got to
Right.
say that
Right.
both of those have stood the test of time. So yes, yeah, I'm trying not to run for office in Canada, but in these trying times of weird, let's call it tariff uncertainty in Canada, it's often the best choice to pick a Canadian company because buying something from the U.S. right
Yes.
now, it's
Yeah.
kind of a you don't know if you're going to be taxed or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't travel
Mm.
anywhere near what I used to. All our, I think we're down to one suitcase that's any good. I mean, it's more than any good. That's a I think we've had it now for 10 years. Briggs and Riley, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
and that's fantastic. A couple of we had some older uh, the Victorinox that were on an older warranty,
I
which has
think
a
that's what you
lifetime
recommended.
warranty.
Yeah.
Um, the last one of them, I don't know what happened. I think we let somebody borrow it and we never saw it again.
Mm.
And the other one we took on a cruise, and in the 300 feet between our room and where we had to pick up the suitcase, it got lost and never found again.
Wow.
But when it got delivered to our room from that same 300 feet, the entire assembly that held the handle had broken off because they destroyed it.
Yeah, like obviously. That's the only
Thank
thing
you,
that
Holland,
explains this.
America.
Right? So you did recommend Victorinox. I've
Yeah,
looked at Toomey's. I've looked at the one that starts with W that it's escaping my mind right now, but
hmm.
another primo
Yeah,
bag name.
yeah.
Wagner.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the reason why I like the Briggs and Riley and the Victorinox is that I find it too expensive to buy a cheap bag because you're
Right.
going to have to buy another one.
Replace it.
And those
Yeah.
Victorinox cases that I had, I bought them probably 5 years before I moved to Amsterdam, which was 15 years ago. I think they lived for a good 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And
Now,
they would have problems, and I would replace
mhm.
pieces, but it was great.
The other thing that somehow worked out for me is I got a small bag when I got
Hmm.
it, assuming that it was small enough that it would fit everywhere. It doesn't
Hmm.
really, but it is still small enough that even the newer
Yeah.
rules, the wheels are just a little bit too long. But
Oh, yeah.
if they force me to go into one of those sizes, it's probably not going to escape it. I'll be the guy with my bag stuck in the sizer
Yeah.
trying to get on the plane. Um, but it's small enough that it goes in most planes. And when
Yeah.
people throw it around, because I watch them, like
Oh, yeah.
somebody asked which cruise line, I think Holland America is what he said. But
Holland
when they're
America was the one I went on.
when they're throwing your bag around, like
Yeah.
it's non-trivial the amount of abuse
Yeah.
that they take. And I think to its testament that it's just a plastic shell. It just
Yeah.
isn't broken because of that. But
Yeah.
those cloth ones I've had rip. I've had people spill stuff
Hmm.
on my suitcase. Like
Hmm.
all types of weird stuff will happen to your suitcase
Yeah.
when you're traveling. But anyway, I do have to run. So what have you picked up, or what have you
I have not
grabbed?
bought anything other than
Oh
I
yeah,
bought uh, a kayak, and we've gone out a few
yes,
times. And I don't know if I
yep.
mentioned the oar, the
No,
paddle.
is there a bougie paddle?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Does it have like a blade, like a fan blade in it or something?
I got a Aquasport Tetra. Now this
Aqua
thing
Sport Tetra.
Tetra, it is pretty phenomenal. It's the actual paddles, like the pieces that go into the oar, are foam, but that's wrapped with carbon fiber. But the ends can possibly delaminate, and so they
Hmm,
stitch the ends with Kevlar.
I see that.
Um, and
Now
but
this
what's
now, now
what's
hold up before
magic?
anyone gets excited. Is this not a $550 two-piece paddle?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, because I got the cheaper one. I got the cheaper one, which is 550. If you get the one that with the bent
There's
handle,
Tetra 2. Yeah. There's Tetra 2 and Tetra 1. I'm looking at Tetra
no,
1, which
no,
is
there's not a
newer,
Tetra
but
two or Tetra one.
oh,
There's
okay.
one with a bent handle, and that's another $250.
Ah.
So it's
Yeah,
about 750 or
so you
eight
got
hundred.
the
I got the cheap one. I went the economy model. Um,
Not Tetra 2, it's Tetra 2-piece posi
two,
lock straight shaft. My
yeah.
apologies.
So
You were
there,
cut off a bit.
I had the two piece straight handle, but what's amazing about it is as you are, I mean, it's super light, so it's the lightest paddle you can get, which is uh, even the heaviest paddles are kind of light, so
They're not
that's
too
not
heavy, yeah.
really. But what's amazing is as you go into the water and you finish that stroke,
Mm.
it just kind of pops up, and
Ah, yes.
it's because it's all foam. You know, you put any other oar in the water, it sits there. If you put it down, it just sits there in the
It
water.
drags.
This thing
Yeah.
just goes a boom, which is really pretty cool. Is it worth $500? No. Well, maybe, I don't know. If you have $550 lying around for a paddle, it's great. But
Oh my, Andre. Listen, we're almost out of time here. I love this story, and I feel like this is worth an interview
oh,
elsewhere. However, so Andre, just to quickly sum up what you're doing, because I've got like a working force reboot happening here in a moment. But Andre is using C# to actually handle insulin levels in a family member. Just to track what they're doing, and they're talking about the MCP servers and SDKs,
wow.
specifically problems with what I think is an LSP. Having read a little bit too much about open code, is the language server provider. I think, Andre, you said you're using Cursor earlier. One thing that I really like about Windsurf, not to plug it, is that it seems to understand extensions that are loaded in the code environment and can use recommendations from those. In particular, ones that understand C#, when you have squiggly lines and things like that, Windsurf seems to pick up on that a lot more than Cursor did for like unknown language, like just random language. One thing that I really liked in OpenCode, and this doesn't solve your problem, is that you can bring your own LSP. And using that LSP, you can understand how the code's actually working when the editor is looking at it. This is a pretty big deal when you're dealing with code that the LLMs don't really handle that well, but your IDE already understands. I would recommend looking into like an environment that has an LSP for C# built in. I think, having played a little bit with C# on Windsurf, it does, but there may be another way in Cursor of hinting to Cursor that there. I think it's got auto mode. Will use tools within the thing. So not if you pick Sonnet, but if you pick Auto, which is kind of like the lesser of all the models. Let's be honest. So it's SWE1 mixed with a whole bunch of other stuff, but I've noticed it will pick up on stuff in Cursor pretty well. Sorry, I'm mixing up Windsurf and Cursor again, aren't I? Sorry, in Windsurf using SWE1. My apologies. It seems to pick up tool hints around it. So that might be worth trying. And if it works, there's probably a way of doing the same thing in Cursor. But that's what I would suggest. Having like noticed a real difference in open code when there's an LSP loaded and when there's not. I know Matt doesn't like Python, but listen, if you had to use Python, it does have pretty cool LSP support, which I think Cursor and Windsurf already do. But for C#,
Right.
having had issues with that before, it's probably just worth looking into what extensions might give Cursor hints, or if that doesn't work, give Windsurf a try and see what it does differently, and then try it out. Sorry, I do need to go in 52
Okay.
seconds here, though. The countdown has started.
Okay. Sounds good.
Shall we find the
Well, that
button?
was fun. Oh, and hey, Matlock, thanks for becoming a
Yes.
member. Thank you very much for that. All right. Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks so
And
much,
I
everyone.
did see the offer comment. We will test offer and get back to you.
What's that?
There was a comment about Opera. They want both you and
Oh,
I to try Opera. I do have it installed. I'll send a screenshot
I have it
and get
installed
to
as
play around
well. All right. I'll find the finish button.